Hi, this is Chippy with UMID BZ Portal, and in this video I want to give you an update on the UMID BZ that I've had for a couple of months. If you remember, the BZ is the follow-on device to the M1, which is one of the smallest and lightest PCs you could buy. So I've had this a couple of months, and I want to give you an update on the major points, good and bad, and then show you some of the software I'm using on the device and give you a feel for how it is. So the first thing I want to mention is great device. This is probably one of the best, one of the top 5 UMPCs I've ever tested. This one here, the U820, is possibly my favourite UMPC of all time, but this one really is in the top 5. It's great build quality and battery life, battery life, battery life. It really is performing in terms of battery life. So that's the first thing I want to mention. Let's highlight some of the differences between this and the UMID M1. You remember on the M1 that there was the problem where the device the screen wouldn't go back far enough. Well, they fixed that in the BZ version. It's not much of a difference, but it's really significant difference, and it really helps when you're using the device in thumb typing mode. Secondly, on the UMID, they've changed the ports to be standard USB 2.0 port and headphone port, which makes a huge amount of difference when you want to go and add USB accessories and do quick connectivity. They've also got the VGA out port on here, which is accessible via a dongle cable, and this VGA output can drive this 1440 by 900 monitor behind me quite nicely. There were a couple of other minor points about the device. They've added the mouse pointer and mouse buttons on this one, which actually make a huge amount of difference, but I will point out that the mouse buttons are pretty hard to use, but they're way better than having no mouse buttons, and the mouse pointer is pretty good as well, so that's a real advantage. The actual finish of the device is really nice. This is a rubberized black. It doesn't get too many fingerprints on it. It really looks nice from the outside, but I want to say that when you open up the device, this plastic surround here looks really cheap and doesn't really match the quality of the components and the engineering that's gone inside this device. The keyboard is the same as the M1, so pretty nice. It's a scissor type action keyboard, but it could have been a bit better because this is perfect for thumbing, and in fact that's the primary use for this device. It should really have been a thumb style keyboard rather than a full action scissor type keyboard. So in terms of major issues, that's pretty much it. This is an excellent device all around, and I've already mentioned the battery life. One thing I want to highlight is the ease at which you can either put this into standby or into a kind of low power online mode. By just closing the lid, that's actually not only optional to put the device into standby, but what I've done is left it on, but the actual action of closing the screen disconnects the screen. So you'll hear actually that's the USB screen disconnecting, which means it saves a lot of power. And in fact, this is now connected to Wi-Fi. I've got Echophone running in Firefox. I've got Gtalk running as well, and that will run for about 7 hours actively connected to the Wi-Fi on this little battery here, and that's 370 grams. It's well under a pound, and almost pocketable really. I mean, certainly jacket pocketable, but certainly hand holdable, and instant on makes it perfect. In terms of performance, there's one thing I want to point out. The SSD is fast, but it does have, I won't say a tendency, but there is a likelihood if you're using it heavily that it will block, which means if you're using a number of apps, you're doing a couple of things at the same time, the SSD may not keep up on its writing small block sizes, and then you're in a situation where you've got to wait 1 or 2 seconds for that buffer to clear, and then the device is working well again. But in general, the SSD speed is really good. Hibernation, coming out of hibernation, boot up is really quick. Application startup times are really quick too. I want to mention the touchscreen. This is a fantastic touchscreen. It's resistive, but the technology in the driver really makes it very accurate and very easy to use. It's a glossy screen, so you doing the grab and drag feature on. I mean, you see that grab and drag is very easy to use. But the other thing is that they seem to have some sort of stabilizer in this, which makes it a lot easier to actually click stuff on the screen. Now, I've done some mods on this XP setup to boost the font size slightly and to boost some of the Windows buttons. But in general, I think that the touchscreen is one of the best I've seen on a UMID PC. It's very, very accurate. You could also have a audible feedback on it, which actually helps a lot. Doesn't maybe getting on your nerves after a while, but it does help a lot to improve the accuracy and to know when you've clicked the device. Another advantage over this device is when it goes into standby, it doesn't reset the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth to a default off state. They come back on as they were when you put the device into standby. So that's really nice. When you boot the device off, on, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth are off as default, but it's just a quick button press and you've got the on-screen button to enable that. So let's take you around a few applications that I've got on this and give you an idea for the speed of the device. So it's a little bit bright in this room. I hope I can actually demo everything successfully. In my setup, I have very little loaded on the device, and some people will be questioning the 512 megabytes of RAM that's in this. Now, 512 megabytes is not a great amount of memory, but for mobile use, if you can slightly modify the way you use a desktop PC to try and pack regularly used stuff into the browser, into browser plugins, and to limit the amount of background applications you have, it's actually fine. And I'm running things like Last.fm, Gtalk, Firefox with 4 or 5 tabs, with the Echophone plugin, maybe even Skype in the background as well, and it's not having any problems with memory at all. The fast SSD helps. So 512 megs of RAM is pretty scary, but there's a fair bit free on Windows Home if you keep things clean as well. So as I say, I'm running Firefox here, and I use the Echophone plugin for Twitter. It's a very memory friendly and CPU friendly plugin for Twitter that provides you notifications, and you also get the ability to use the keyboard shortcuts on this as well, to bring up and tab to change. The Echophone plugin is really nice actually for devices with low CPU and low memory footprint. So I'm on Wi-Fi here. Let's take you to a couple of websites so you get an idea of how quick the browsing experience is. There's TechMeme. Remember, this is full desktop style websites. Really nothing optimized here at all. We've got Flash running. Although actually, I might actually have a Flash blocker enabled on this. I think I might have a Flash blocker. We'll see soon. It's no Flash, I think, is the plugin. We can run multiple tabs with really no problem at all. Let's start up Gmail so you get an idea of how quickly that fires up. The full desktop Gmail application, and there we are there, no problems at all. So I've also got Gtalk running in the background. I've got a Last.fm plugin in the background, and I use Windows Live Gallery for editing and posting and importing images from things like SD cards. There's an SD card slot in the front, USB devices, and also over Bluetooth. I make sure it's configured to monitor the Bluetooth transfer directory as well. OpenOffice works on this. Windows Media Player is working well. Let's give you another run through some of the applications I've got installed here. I've even done some stuff with Movie Maker. I've got TweetDeck, I've got Power DVD, Chrome, KM Player, Skype, PageShop Pro, OpenOffice, Windows Live Writer as well. Audacity I use with a USB mic, and it's a very good quality audio capture application that's open source. And what else have we got? Opera and Last.fm. And As I mentioned, with the device closed, you get this capability to use the device for about 7 hours. So there's the device playing back music. In fact, the built-in speaker is actually not too bad as well. It's mono, but it's a very clear, accurate speaker, and actually pretty loud as well. So 7 hours in that mode is pretty impressive. So let me mention a couple of other things here. One good, one bad. The device is totally silent. It's fanless, running on the 1.2 GHz Intel Atom Z520 processor, and there's no real heat to speak of as well. If you really push the device with 3D, with audio playback, with some web type stuff going on as well, and you charge it as well at the same time, you do get heat build up on at the bottom. But at the moment I can just feel some warmth that you'd, same sort of warmth that you'd feel on any laptop as well. One negative point I want to point out is that the battery indicator only gives you a percentage. It doesn't give you he says where is the battery? 1 second. There we go, there's the battery. It only gives you a percentage reading. It doesn't give you a battery life time figure. So that's a little bit of a disadvantage, but the battery life on this is so great that 4 to 5 hours is absolutely no problem at all. And as I said, in the screen off mode connected, you're looking at 6 to 7 hours. With the Wi-Fi off, music playback or ebook reading, with the Wi-Fi off and closed, you can expect, I guess, around 8 hours, 7 to 8 hours. With the screen on, with the Wi-Fi off, in a kind of ebook reading mode, let's show you that way, that would last for around I think about 6 hours would be a sensible figure there for using it in, let's say for Google Reader, for example. Let's just go to Google Reader and input my password there, sign in. And U to full screen it, function F11, and there we have quite a nice Google Reader application with L, N, M, all the usual keyboard shortcuts that allow you to get through Google Reader nice and quickly. So there's the UMID BZ, a quick rundown and update after I've been using it for a couple of months. And once again, I'd call this one of the top 5 UMPCs that I've ever had. I'm a big fan of the Arcos 5 and I've been using that a lot, but since I've had this, the Arcos 5 hasn't been used a lot at all. I'm not a great video fan. I don't use PMPs that much. I'm more of a productivity guy, so that's why probably this one's fitting in a bit better. But if you're interested in ultramobile PCs with desktop operating system and the advantages that a desktop operating system brings you in terms of productivity and using processors that you use on a desktop, this is definitely one worth looking at. And you can find out more information at UMPC Portal. We have a product page, and there's a load of links, a load of videos, and a lot more stuff to learn about there. UMID BZ, this is Chippy from UMPC Portal. Thanks for watching.